Hello. It's Wednesday, Q&A Wednesday. You excited? Not as excited as I am. Hope everyone's doing well. We're just going to wait a few seconds for some folks to join us. It's weird not doing it every day now.
Yeah.
We've been doing a live stream every day for about a month now, at least. And we decided this week to drop down to Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The lives are great. We learn a lot, but I do post them to YouTube afterwards, and it's just a lot of work, and there's a lot of stuff going on, fortunately. So, fortunately and unfortunately. But yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to send those in, and and we'll get started. Anything about business, woodworking. I see a comment, Bliss Made Furniture. Quit dubbing around and make something. Well, if you join in on Monday or Friday, today's Q&A. It's Q&A Wednesday. You're not taking that away from me. So, but until we get some questions in, and yes, please feel free to say hi and where you're from and what you're working on. Oh, there. Hello from Puerto Rico. Hello. Hello. So, until we get some questions in, which feel free to send them in anytime. We can jump around. I have been thinking a lot about chairs today. You're like, that's like an everyday thing for me. But specifically, I know why you like chairs, but I'm sure that's a question a lot of people, a lot of your followers might have, and it is a question you're asked a lot. Why chairs? Why do you like to design and build chairs?
I guess for me, I like building anything, but chairs, I feel are unique, and they're really the only piece of furniture that has to fit the human body. So there's that. That's a big element in there, or a big, and that really changes everything. So you can make tables and any other kind of piece of furniture, and they are what they are on their own. And chairs, I guess some other furnitures you can interact with, but chairs are really, you really interact with them, and they have to agree with the person sitting with them, and or sitting on them, and so that's a really neat. To me, that's really interesting, and and very challenging. So not only do you have pretty very technical construction methods going on, and I feel like that that I don't know. I mean, they're really challenging is really the big thing. So I feel like it really put. Yikes.
Oh wow! Sorry,
Goes
y'all.
my double stick tape.
Sorry, everybody.
Maybe that tape is.
I think it's worn out.
Um,
I think it's worn out. Just keeping you on your toes.
There you go. You need another piece?
Yes, I do. So, time out for technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
There you go.
There we go. All right. I mean, in its defense, I have been using this like every day for a couple of weeks now, so. Dun, 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 dun. Hello,
Okay.
hello.
All right.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah. So I feel like not only, it really puts all your skills to the test. You're constructing, you're designing, or if you're building a chair that you didn't design, it's still extremely technically challenging. For me, every time so far, it's been a chair that I've designed. So, you know, not only are you dealing with the one-off first time building something and that challenge, you're trying to make it fit a human body, and that is any little thing that changes the way it sits. So, you know, that's just, I guess it's almost a I don't know. I mean, if it's I don't know if it's the challenge or the puzzle or the if it's, you know, something I'm trying to, you know, punish myself doing, because it's usually so challenging that I can't just do something straightforward and you know, just normal, regular, just building. There's something about that challenge that really intrigues me, and I think that's really the main pull, you know, how hard it is, really, and then how hard it is to make it beautiful, but then also to fit the human body. I think that's probably the biggest draw for me, and you know, so I guess that means the challenge. You know, I guess after all that, you know, it's extremely challenging, because you know, really, you're doing joinery that has to, just like any other piece, that has to really stand up. But chairs get tortured, and you know, really pushing the joinery to the limits, and then trying to make that chair also look good and not just a big block of wood to take that, to, you know, to get you that strength. So that's it pushes your skills, and you know, and I guess that part of your mind that that is trying to decipher this puzzle, and what has to fit where, and that's just, I really love that part, I think. So yeah.
Well, it's not like lost on me. I know when we first started working together, and I was a little bit more involved in like the furniture making side of things, because that was, I mean, that was all I did, you know, was kind of harass you in the shop every day. But just, that was the first time I realized how differently we all sit. And I think it's also a little more personal for us too, just because of my back issues and being a wheelchair user and things like that. But then I also am like thinking about back when I was like making furniture with you, like maybe I wasn't the best person to tell you how something sat, you know, like I hope I didn't like screw anything up for you, but
No, I definitely considered that it was different.
Well, and I remember you saying like, if you can find it comfortable, then
right,
most people should.
Well, and you know, whether that was true or not, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like a logical thing, but the fact is that everybody's different, and I can sit in a chair and think it's the greatest thing, and you could sit in it, or anyone else could sit in it, and it just be, you know, painful, you know, to one extreme. It can be. So, you know, that's, there's that challenge and, I don't know, risk when you're designing, especially something custom for somebody. I mean, you're taking that initial meeting and measurements and discussion with that client, and then hoping you get it right over the course of that build, because so much can change. And, you know, that's always I know even more so. I mean, I feel usually really confident with all of it, but you know, when I'm delivering a table, it's kind of, it's been decided, I've got it, you know. But when I'm delivering that chair, no matter how good it looks, no matter how well I thought it went, until I see the client sit in it and see their facial expression, there's always that.
See how they
yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's one of the biggest things. You know, you can see their facial expression, but really how their body, that body language, you know, and you can really,
if something hurts or is uncomfortable, you can't really hide that.
That's right. Or if they're slumped, or if they're you know, like C-shaped spine, you know, and you know, then all that's out the window too, because how you sit for a short period of time is different than how you sit for a long period of time. So something that's comfortable right away might not necessarily be comfortable in 5 or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, or, I guess
Right.
talking about like a dining chair, or me thinking specifically about a dining chair, you sit in it and okay, this is great. And then, throughout that meal,
Really?
it's different. So it's really tough. And, to get it right. And, I don't know, now I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm not sure if there is you've nailed it, because everything, it's always changing. Hell, that one person's body's always changing. I mean, it's almost an impossible task to feel like you can make it comfortable all the time.
There is no perfect chair.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't. And I feel like it changes.
It's deep.
Yeah, it's very deep. Yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to prove.
Oh man, now
Gee whiz.
I'm getting all existential over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just gonna drink my coffee.
Been in quarantine too long.
But yeah, good. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I had to think about it for a little bit, because it's and try to. I'm not that great at expressing what I'm thinking a lot of times. So trying to get that out to you guys. It's a lot to it. I mean, it's a lot to my thinking. A lot to there's just a lot to it, and I think that when it really comes down to it, it'd be a lot easier just to make straightforward pieces. But there's something about that. Obviously a table and other pieces stand alone. But there's a personality to a chair that I think that's not always there with another piece. It's it has a personality. Especially an occasional one-off chair or a rocker, or I can really only speak to what I've made, and I've made not a million chairs for sure, but made rocking chairs, made stools, made dining chairs, occasional chairs, and they at least speak to me that way. So whether that's a figment of my imagination, that's the way I go about it, and I think part of that is what is the allure for me. And besides, I really do love a woodworking challenge. So. It doesn't get much harder than that for me. So, and having to be like, okay, we'll make this chair, and then come home and be like, how am I going to make that arm do that? And then be bending a 2-inch thick piece of wood to make it. So it wasn't. It's not always an easy thing. So definitely pushes your design and your imagination and what you can pull off with whatever tools you got. So, and that being said, there's so much more I'd love to do with chair making. Not only just in line with what I'm working with now, but I'd like to do more like green chairs, splitting out of the log and that sort of thing, and that kind of lends, or I think is a little bit easier to deal with as far as when you're bending things like that, and that but so there's just not enough time. There's so many things, so many chairs and so many directions I'd like to go with it. Really just off the wall sculptural chairs, and then that being said too, you really, nobody, unless somebody's like funding your work,
this time, money, materials.
Well, it's like this rocking chair I'm doing now. I designed it in 2013 or 14, and I hadn't had a chance to build it yet.
Life,
you build what somebody's paying you to do. So,
it's Sure.
I kind of just jumped at the opportunity to
get a chance
to get this. Yeah, I mean,
get it in there.
I don't know when I was going to do it again, and that didn't mean I probably should be doing something else to try to, besides making this chair for fun or for R&D or something. But it's I did it, so I'm glad.
Deal with it.
I'm deal with it. I'm happy that it's happening. Be happy when it's actually a thing and I can say it went well. I'm hoping that happens.
Done.
I'm hoping it doesn't end up in the burn pile.
It'll be done one way or another.
It'll be done, yeah. One way or the other, for sure.
Well, that's awesome. That's why I asked you that question, because you just talked for 15 minutes just on that topic. Because that's the thing about chairs is, and it's like you compared it to the table, it's just not straightforward. And there's so many different styles and so many different techniques. And it really is something that our whole body has to embrace throughout the day. So,
yeah. And that's obviously not saying all tables and stuff are straightforward, but it's just different. It's, there's another element in there that has to work.
And to me, it's almost kind of like, especially with other art forms, is why do painters like paint? Why, it's almost kind of like, yes, wood is your medium, but when it, even within the realm of woodworking, there's furniture making, there's wood carving, there's wood turning, there's, all these different subsets you can go into. And then even beyond that, furniture, okay, are you making jewelry cabinets? Are you making chairs? Are you making tables? Are you making cribs? Are you making step stools?
And all those things are total different.
All so different.
Yeah, and a whole different way of just even thinking about them. So that's also neat. It keeps you, I mentioned the other day, talking about different elements to the chair and carving the seat, and that's more sculptural, and the joinery is just precision and just exactness, and then there's other little details are kind of a blend of both. And I do find that I like to go change it up a little bit, and from project to project, or either maybe or several projects, and I get not bored of it, but I'm looking for something else, and another itch to scratch for sure. There's sometimes I just want to sculpt, and then there's sometimes where I'm wanting to make this precise box. It's just totally different, and I get a different. There's a different satisfaction from the different ones. So I guess it's probably depending on my mood. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think we got some comments, maybe some questions. We don't want to ignore that. It's Q&A day, and so we always try to pick a topic, and then we usually get so carried away on our topic that it takes up most of the time. Okay. All right. Bliss Made Furniture has been hanging out with us. So they say, human-centric design principle, you can make the prettiest thing ever, but if you can't use it, what good is it?
No, that's exactly it.
Well, to me, it could be art or something, but as far as again, trying to design something to be used.
Yeah, and I guess that's a really good point, because if I just cared about the form, it could be
be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense. It wouldn't have to be comfortable.
Doesn't have to, sit on all four legs.
Yeah. Personally, that is a really big factor for me. That's something that is important. I am wanting to make something functional.
It's not ornamental.
It isn't ornamental. There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as me, I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be useful. I want it to be used. I want it to be lived on. I don't want it to sit in the corner and just look. Otherwise, you could hang the thing from the wall. It could be a wall picture or a chair picture. I'm looking. I want it to be used, and so that really does speak to my philosophy with it. You know, it definitely, like, I would totally be wanting to throw it in the burn pile if it was useless, even if it was pretty. Like, that, just me. I mean, just, you know, the way I think about it, and maybe that's the intent behind it while I'm building it. You know, I'm not one to be like, oh, what I'm looking to get out of this is a beautiful, comfortable chair, and I only get beautiful. Then it's a failure to me. So I wouldn't be happy with it. So if I didn't go into it thinking that, then it maybe it'd be different. But that's just me. That's what I'm thinking about when I build it. And so I guess then that is my expression, you know, in the art, or yeah, because I mean, it is still pretty. It's still, you know, hell, it might be comfortable with somebody else though. So maybe it would be.
Well, I think when you're like talking about function, like, it is also, it almost has to go into the burn pile, because if something is unstable, or if it's not safe, or it's just,
oh yeah, then it's not going
if it's
anywhere.
not usable, you know, then it's not you
it's not going out the door.
Can't
Yeah,
use it.
yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah.
But as far as comfort goes, I agree with you. I there's just a lot of, it's like a spectrum.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean,
so there's no telling.
I don't know if there is, like I said, there is no. Yeah, you got it right, unless you're talking about the person who has to sit in it, and who owns it, and who bought it. If it works for them, then it was a success. Right. It absolutely won't fit everybody. So that's an impossible. Yeah.
And I mean, very much that saying, like, you can't please everyone. I mean, that you just have to accept that right off the bat. I think being a creative professional in general, like, you just have to get used to the fact that some people are not going to like your work, some people aren't going to like your style or how you do things, and that's okay. It's not meant for them. But you know, when it's coming to furniture and things like that, and you're putting a lot of time and stuff into it, and again, it comes down to the beauty versus comfort. You know, how many people have probably sat in a piece and said, oh wow, I really like that, but it's not a book I can sit and read, or not a chair I can sit and read a book in for hours, or whatever it is they're looking for. I mean, but it's also interesting to see what customers do like and what they pick. So you tend to have a lot of older ladies, I know, have purchased a lot of your 3-legged stools to either, like, put their shoes on in the morning, or to fit under a vanity, and they're backless, the ones that I'm thinking of. And so it's just really interesting. You would think, okay, the older you get, the more support you would need. Well, actually, based on, you know, those two customers, I mean, it's totally different.
Right.
So,
and if you're somewhat in shape already, then it, or I say in shape, if you're, you know, if you sit,
if you
can sit properly, yeah. Or if the seat that they're sitting in fits their body correctly, and you watch them sit in it, and they sit with the posture naturally without even thinking about it, that makes sense, because then those are the people who have bought it, because it's fit them.
It fits them.
And there's really no hiding it, or like I was talking about the facial expression when someone sits in it for the first time. That's a dead giveaway in their posture. And
it's like this. It really is this, like, look of ease. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. Okay, an effortless, and not that, like, you think sitting in a seat would take a lot of effort, but it.
And I know exactly what you're talking about, because sometimes I see people sit in things and I'm like, oh, they don't like it. They didn't have a reaction or something. But those are the ones that are usually, like, so into it that, you know, it's right then. So, yeah. Cool. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, more from Bliss Made Furniture. Grandpa Bliss says the best way to make a good chair is to make a whole bunch of bad ones. Firewood. That's true.
Lots of mistakes.
True. Yes.
Lots of mistakes.
Yes. Windsor chairs. Oh, thank you. Hello, how are you? We are good. How are you? So, yeah, y'all, don't be shy. Say hello, where you're from, what you're working on, what you got going on today. Keep scrolling. Hey, so yeah, well, we just have like a few more minutes left. If anybody has a question, now's a good time to go ahead and get it in. I'm interested to see where we go on with Q&As from here, because last week we got so into talking about your tools, and then this week it's really about chairs and seating, and I just feel like there's so much we could sit and have a conversation about, and hopefully someone has learned something from this, or if has thought about something you hadn't thought about before, change your perception a little bit on chairs. Some people work in finance and think about money all day. Some people, there's chefs that cook food. We think about chairs.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Always thinking about chairs.
It's a good way to be. So. Well, I don't think I did my little rundown at the beginning of the live today, but we have changed up. We are here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now at 2 p.m. Eastern for furniture making and Wednesday Q&A and all of that good stuff. So again, the 5 days a week was a lot of fun, but we had to cut it back a little bit. Just a lot going on. You can still catch Mary May at 1 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. She is doing some free wood carving live streams, and she's working on this amazing, have you seen the bust?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I tuned in for a little while today and was watching. Yesterday she was grinding it out, and then today she was kind of starting to get in there with the handwork and stuff, so it's going to be awesome. So she also shares hers on Twitch afterwards, so permanently, so you can still go back and see today's live stream on there. And then also this evening, it's Wednesday, so it's Women of Woodworking Wednesday, and I'll have that live stream at 7:30 p.m. over there. So join me over there. I only had 2 entries into my trivia question this week. Hopefully I'll get some more entries for the next one, but it's been good. We've got some exciting stuff going on, and fortunately for us, we are able to still keep pretty busy even though we're isolated and stuck at home. So I feel very fortunate that we're able to keep things moving, and I hope that y'all are too. Crazy time. So, well, just double check and make sure we didn't miss any other questions. Anything else going on? But you shared a lot of really great information today, so hopefully we'll get some more comments and questions just about chairs and chair making. I do see what you mean about being a little bit more challenging. And this isn't a knock on anyone, but you do tend to see more reproduction of previous styles rather than original work. And I mean, and again, that's not a knock on it. I mean, if you can build a Windsor chair, then I mean, that's nothing to be bummed about. But it is something I'd like to see more of, more chair makers out there, more people taking on the challenge. That would be nice. And then again, especially for me, I'm in a chair a lot, so it would be. I'd like to see you do more sculptural. I didn't know you had that in you. Actually, I didn't know you had some avant-garde type of thing in mind.
It's just no interest in it right now, as far as just doing it for myself.
Oh, okay. So you want to do that for yourself, but you're not like.
Well, I mean, I guess I can't expect somebody to want it if I hadn't put it out there, but so.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's it, we'll see you guys again on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Joseph Thompson Woodworks.